How's it going, guys? My wife and I were going to talk to you guys a little bit today about the Garmin Catalyst versus the AIM Solo or really any other AIM telemetry. I'm Justin Kelly. We race with Grid Life GLTC
and Tiffany Kelly, and I race with GLTC with Justin as well.
So we've been using the AIM products for, I don't know, probably what, 3-4 years?
Yeah, I think so.
Tiffany runs a Solo 2 DL, and I run a AIM MXG Dash. Both run the exact same telemetry program. I think it's Race Studio 3. And we've had really good results. Not talking down on AIM at all. The products have been fantastic. No complaints. A good friend of mine reached out and said that he had really good results with the Garmin Catalyst. And I know that Tiffany was looking for something that we could do more downloads after sessions. And you know, the AIM really does take a considerable amount of time sometimes to download your software or download the data onto the software and break it down. So the Catalyst is something that has been able to really shorten that time and help us do more sessions together. I mean, Tiffany, at Gingerman, you were able to find how much time with that?
I think I found a couple seconds.
Yeah, I mean, she went like a couple seconds faster.
Yeah.
And, you know, this was really something that she was able to see real world results from what it was saying was the optimal lap based on your average lap time, or, you know, to show you where the speed is. The AIM data does the same thing, but it takes a lot more time to comb through all the data. And there's a lot of wasted time in there as far as you need to get out for the next session. You have limited time. So everything is always in a rush at a race day. So Tiffany, why don't you walk us through kind of what you do when you get out of the car, how you use the Garmin a little bit, and what you find most beneficial.
All right, well, first off, it is easy to see, and it's actually very easy to set up in your car. Has a magnetic in the back. There's a little magnet, so you can just put it in your car, and when you're done, you just grab it. So that's one reason I love it, because then all my data is right here and I don't have to go and find the laptop to plug it in. Now, the one plus about this is when I get in the car, we can have Justin and I, because we both race together, sometimes he'll jump in my car, vice versa, so we test cars so we can pick which driver, and I set mine always, so when I'm racing, or if Justin wants to jump in my car, he can choose. And so then when I'm in the car, it's easy. I just pick the track that we're at, it gets me there, and then it'll say go, and it's filming the entire time, which is nice. So the reason this one yesterday, our home track is Raceway Park in the Midlands, and I beat my personal best, and I didn't even think it was possible because I had just beat it last month.
So what was it? It was probably 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What did you run 6 weeks ago before we got the Garmin?
The 140?
Yeah, it was like a 140.6, I think. Mm-hmm. Trying to 140.6, and that was, you know, several seconds faster than what she held the track record in NASA ST4, and she found several seconds using the AIM that we've been using the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So going before the event, we were able to go through the AIM data and find that time, and then going into yesterday, we had a test day. She was able to beat that time, and I think we maybe spent 15 minutes with the Garmin. I mean, it was not very much time at all.
So I actually ended up being my personal best in the 40s. I got down to 139.97 to this. So the great part about it, you can go in different areas and it'll show all your laps and miles per hour. And the one thing, here, let me get in there. So I'm going to review yesterday so I can look upside down here. I'm going to pick the track that I was at yesterday and the session that I was at. And
so then show them. So it keeps track of all of your sessions throughout the day.
Yes.
And it keeps track of all of your past sessions. You know, so if you were there 2016 and you had sessions on there, you would be able to go in there and compare from a session that you had, you know, however long ago. So this is
from 9/20
back in September. You know, we can see what she ran back in September, and you can put in there what the conditions are, whether it's rainy or whether it's dry, and that way when you go to look back, you're like, man, why was that lap time so far off?
Yeah.
you can put in there it was raining, so you're aware.
So I was obviously running 142s last time that was RPM. So that's showing I'm improving. And it's awesome. I can go in, and the best part about it's so easy to look at because it shows me, it breaks down the track into segments, and it'll show me areas of opportunity. And it's funny, it's the same 3 corners that I always end up having some issues with, but it was telling me where, and the plus is it has a little videos, and so what it does is it's videoing all of my best sections, my optimal lap, and then it'll actually string it together and show me. So then I can quickly watch the video and see where I should place my car. And so lap 1, segment 1. So Justin and I, this is perfect for us because I'll ask him.
That's my favorite feature for sure it records everything. It records every lap, and it breaks every lap into sectors. So when Tiffany and I want to go and do a breakdown of the video, I can do a breakdown with her, and instead of having to use like a normal camera, GoPro or whatever, where you have to consistently try to scroll back and find that spot you want to show over and over again, you can just click back to like sector 5. You can show sector 5. If there was an issue there, I can watch it. I can just click the back arrow, and it will just start that sector over instead of going to a random spot and then trying to have to find that place again. So I can show her repeatedly, exactly what needs to happen.
Well, like segment 4, if I was that, and then him and I, in lap 1, I might have did it this way. Lap 2, I did it this way. And then I know lap 5 was that was my best time. So we can go through and see, and then I can go back and see, and then it's easy for us to talk about it.
Right, and the screen is so big.
7 inches.
Yeah, 7-inch screen with really, really good resolution. Gives you your mile an hour, gives you your live lap time. It really gives you everything that you need to be able to show what you're doing right or wrong. And the other thing that, the best thing about the video is Tiff will show you here. Why don't you talk to him about, how it links the segments together.
Yes, that's what, so in there,
So if you go into, that, and go to laps.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick my best one. So I'll have the segments, and then
you go down here to laps, and this will show you all of your lap times. You can see all of your lap times from that session, and then it even gives you an optimal lap time, which would be taking all of your best sectors and placing them together into what would have been your best lap. And that's not like a made-up predictive lap. That's a lap time you actually ran, just you ran it throughout the course of that session, and it links them together for you.
Yeah. So the one thing that helped me yesterday, though, was with driving. The big thing in car. So Justin, he knows I love the solo. I do love that.
Yeah, and so the solo, really they do the exact same thing in different ways.
Yes.
The solo has the lights on the side that you can set up to have your time differential. So there will be green lights or red lights to show you if you're up or down on your optimal lap time. And this will give you the same thing in a red or green readout telling you what your split time is. And I think just this year, Tiffany's gotten to the point now where she's comfortable enough in the car she can take her eyes off of the road and glance at the screen, whether it be the solo or whether it be the Garmin, and see what, if she's up or down. The hardest thing is how many times have all of you guys been out on track, you take a couple corners and you're like, wow, that felt really fast. And then you come across the start-finish line, you're like, okay, well, that was not faster at all.
The one plus is, I'm going off track a little, and what I'm doing right now is finding the track we were at yesterday. So it does have all the tracks listed, so that's great too. So you can choose, and a lot of them do have a short course or a...
Right, and when you're there, it will by GPS give you if you're at a track, it will bring it up. You don't have to go dig through the chart.
And if you have dry or wet conditions, because I did notice on one of the old ones, when we went to Determined Raceway a month ago, there was wet conditions, and I didn't push the button, and I was like, why are my times so bad on there? But going through the video, I saw that. So
right, and in the video, you would also be able to tell.
Dry or wet.
But I think the best thing for Tiffany and what she's kind of gotten used to using is when you get done with the session, you can come off track and you can pull up your optimal. You can pull up your optimal lap, which will take all of your best sector video and link them together. So it'll actually show you what a perfect lap would look like, all stringed together. It's really seamless. That
blends together really well.
Yeah, that was really what blew me away the most was instead of having to go into a video of a lap and try to find, it says I did the best in sector 5. Go to sector 5, watch that corner. It will actually link all of the best ones together. So you can literally watch the video, over and over and just kind of beat that line into your head and know what you need to do.
Well, and it breaks it down. So the plus is when you hit opportunities, like it broke it down in there's 3 corners that I had opportunities to gain. I go in and it'll actually break it down into an overview of that corner, and then in braking, like this one is a perfect one. I achieved my fastest lap when I broke 33 feet later and 16% harder, which was nice. And then you'll see a little purple and white. It actually, and this is a cool part for some visual learners.
That is super cool.
I'm a visual learner. It'll show you where exactly, if you want to go off braking points, I can see where my optimal, where I should be braking, and where the average place where I was braking. So that was nice.
And that is huge. I mean, if you go to you go to a track like Road America, somewhere where you're doing 140, 150 miles. I mean, we don't go that fast. We're in GLTC cars, but you're going extremely fast, and the difference between braking at the 5 and the difference between braking at the 4.5 is the difference of not making the corner. Where you can go run your whole session, you can come back and you can click on these photos down here, and you can actually see that it'll show you a screenshot from the video of where you broke at the optimal and where you broke on the average. And I think one of the things that Tiffany, her and I have talked about, and it was really cool to see in a video, was braking earlier a lot of times ended up
actually going to be more optimal
going faster.
Yeah.
Because late braking is a big thing when it comes to racecraft and making passes, but it's not always the best for going fast.
Slowing fast out.
Right.
I do like apexing too. Some tracks, a lot of times you want to hit that apex perfect, and this actually shows you sometimes when the late apex is better than an early apex, which I really like that, because like this corner, I was doing better when I late apex than early. And I actually found the speed feature. So when he was talking about braking earlier, maybe to go into it, some of it'll actually show I come out of the corner a couple miles per hour faster than when I went, if I broke later. So then it changes.
A mile an hour is the difference between, a tenth to half a second at some tracks. So being able to see what corner you're down a mile an hour and where you're down a mile an hour, not necessarily on entry, mid corner, or exit, but it will show you which section of the track. I think one other thing that I have, so this is, to give you guys an idea of a comparison, this is Race Studio 3. This is what you would use with the Solo. And super comprehensive data. There is absolutely no replacement, in my opinion, for aim telemetry, but there is definitely a place to have the Garmin Catalyst as well. Because, if you're just looking at the data, it is overwhelming to a lot of people. And for me to be able to try to take this data, sit down with Tiffany and show her, out of these squiggly lines sometimes where she needs to go fast, it's much quicker for her to be able to pull the video up and just see, I'm a foot wide here on the apex, or I turned in way too early. It's the visual is just key.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, you're giving the same data. So like the G's, like how many G's under braking or how many G's within the corner, that's actually in this as well, and it does break it down and show that data for you. It's just a little bit easier and broken down for me with some visuals.
Right, and that's why I said, by no means am I saying you should take your aim and go sell it and get a Catalyst. But do I think that there are big benefits from having both? Absolutely. I think that the streamline between the video and your lap time is something that AIM lacks. Where AIM can show me down to 0.01 of a G lateral, or half a G under braking, I can see precisely why the car was faster in a certain sector. Yeah. But how many times is that really, okay, so I broke half a G later here, but does that really, I can't feel that necessarily, to a precise matter on the track. On here, all that matters is, okay, I broke at the 3. This next time I broke at the 4 and I went faster. No reason to go that late. Just really, really cut and dry results.
But it does have the max acceleration and decel, and then I can see what kind of G's.
And once again, I think the thing that works the best for us is she can literally get out of the car, grab this, and it's right there. We don't have to, connect through Wi-Fi or plug into the AIM and pull the data and then sit down and go through it. It's just, when we have sometimes 30 minutes to prep for the next race, you still got to do tire pressure and torque lug nuts and put fuel in the cars. You don't always have time to sit down and break down data, but you can always make time to pull this thing out and just spend literally a couple minutes going through and finding a couple tenths, especially on a new track.
Well, and the one thing I have not tried yet, which I will say, there's an audio feature. Apparently there's a coach. So if you're an audio person, I have not tried that yet so I don't know. It could actually be great saying turn here, brake here, but.
And I think that's something we haven't had it long enough to take it to a track we've never been to. But I think that this would be, just
super helpful.
On a new track that you're trying to get up to pace quickly, this is absolutely probably the best thing you could possibly have. It just makes it so easy.
Yeah, and repeat and then watch it. And then you can actually compare. So if I want to compare my lap 1, I can compare and then say, okay, compare lap 1 to my optimal lap. And I say, okay. And so then it actually compares them for me. So I can kind of see where, and I think in a new track that would be awesome. Be like, oh, okay, that turn is actually faster going this way.
Exactly, so. Because you don't know what the line is. You've never been there.
Yeah.
Should we show them how these go into the car and what the differences are?
Yeah, definitely.
Just take that.
All right, so
this is Tiffany's S2000 GLTC car. So we run all kinds of things in here. Currently we have an AEM dash. We don't use any of the telemetry from that, but the Garmin Catalyst is literally as simple.
It's like that.
It is as simple as pulling it off of the magnetic base, looking at it, and then popping it back on there. And it's all powered through the pins, and it's completely effortless. And then the Solo, so the Solo sticks on there. It is the same type of deal. It goes onto the base, all magnetic, but you then have to go through and hook the wire into the bottom of it, and still fairly easy to do, but I can't pull telemetry off of this. I have to get the data off of this onto a computer where we can pull the data off of this instantly, get out of the car and look at it. No problem.
And then every time I just jump back in. I will recommend. Yep. And then you just have to make sure. I always recommend putting in a spot though, because sometimes I buckle in. I have to make sure I can reach it and touch to start.
Oh yes, yeah.
Don't put it. And then the center is where you want it close to. This was super easy to install.
Oh, so here's the camera. Yeah. So the camera goes in, and it comes with several different mounts so that you could put it in different cars if you didn't want to have several cameras.
And then they'll give you a couple things so you can hide your wiring back up in. Yeah. But super easy. Once this is lined, it'll actually help you line up too. So that there'll be a time when you want to turn it on and it'll actually have you sync it.
Show you that it's all level and everything.
So you can sync it with it. So when you go to drive, and then you choose your whatever international.
So you gotta make sure you can reach it when you're buckled in, because you gotta hit start when you pull out on the track.
Yeah, this is how. Yeah, and check alignment. That's what I was talking about.
One thing you definitely want to keep in mind. So.
All right. So overall, definitely recommend both products for sure.
Yeah, and at the same time, price point is nearly the same. The Solo is a little bit cheaper, but you're not getting any video with this. You would have to do a separate Smarty Cam. I guess Smarty Cam is the only way that you could really integrate the video with the telemetry. So at a price point for what you get, it's really. There's nothing better.
It's like a driving coach, just.
I think
that's pretty
driving
much. If you were going by
analysis.
yourself or something, yeah. And then, like I said, I do like the feature of being able to put it in other cars and him and I comparing, and so it was super helpful for me for us having two racers together, and sometimes not being able to do a download together after. This was kind of helpful when I needed someone to help, or.
Yeah. So overall, definitely recommend, right?
I do. I highly recommend. I ran my personal best with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Highly recommend. AIM Solo, also recommended.
Love AIM Solo.
Definitely recommend both products. But if you're between buying two products, I would say, the more novice driver that you are, the Garmin is definitely much better, going from no experience up into probably getting close to an advanced driver. I think when you're really getting down to looking for tenths, looking for car setup lateral G, the Solo is probably going to have an advantage. But if you can afford to eventually have both, there's things to be gained from both products, no question.
And the overlapping features, I do want to say, like, this one is easy to go in and out of multiple cars too. Another reason why we have that.
That is true.
We do take this one in cars.
Very true.
This also does give you, it shows when you're driving, the lights, he said the flashing lights are on the side here. Well, right in the center when I'm driving, it starts to show me green or red, like if that section I took.
Right.
So that is the greatest part. While you're driving, you'll be able to look and see, oh, okay, I did take that corner faster.
Yeah, and so that is a great point. They both have internal batteries, both can run in other cars,
yes.
But the camera for this only runs off of power. So you can't just grab the camera, stick it in the car, and grab this. That's not going to work. You know, so
yes.
This is something like when we run our driving school, I can grab this, I can jump in a student's car with it, stick it on the windshield, and pull telemetry off it real quick, no problem.
Yeah, because I did that. I didn't turn on my battery in my car yet, and I was like, why is it not working?
Exactly.
So remember, this one does run off power, yes. So yeah, but overall, we highly recommend both these products, and if you really want that extra little bit of help in a car.
And as we get, more products that we find are helpful to you guys, especially those of you that are, using them for wheel-to-wheel racing or things that are competitive.
Timed trials.
We're trying to give a real-world racer's perspective on how these can help you compete and also help you find lap time.
Yeah.
So thank you, and please subscribe.